This One's Wife. Separate. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. We saw This One's Wife and Prince Harry in New York City just recently. They turned up on the red carpet, where Harry looked rather grumpy, and This One's Wife attempted on 2 occasions her doting wife look. She milked the circumstances of the press pack for the purposes of receiving that fuel. She said hello to the host, but then when the host was busy talking to Harry, that naturally wounded her, so it caused her to be rather rude and turn and look again to the press pack to have her photograph taken. Thereafter, there was an appearance where she turned up on stage and said a few words, naturally, along with Harry. She was itching to get on that microphone. They turned up at a gala lunch, and third wheel, Marcus Anderson, was in attendance. Seminars were held, introduced by Harry and then This One's Wife, and they received their paid-for Humanitarians of the Year award, which just crowned the hypocrisy of these 2 individuals for reasons that you are fully familiar with. Thus, that was the New York City trip. Kids not there, but also it was reported on the fact that the 2 of them stepped out separately. The Duke of Sussex was decked out in a suit as he entered a car to enjoy the comfortable fall night in Manhattan on Saturday. This One's Wife was sporting shades and a scarf with a long coat as she stepped out of her vehicle and was later spotted leaving a restaurant after dinner with a friend. Harry and This One's Wife went their separate ways one day after having lunch with tennis legend Serena Williams in New York's Soho House. This One's Wife and Serena first met at a Super Bowl party in 2010. This One's Wife and the Duke of Sussex were in town to attend the Project Healthy Minds Gala, where they were given the honours. On the red carpet on Thursday night, Harry appeared to hurry This One's Wife along as he took her hand and started moving away after posing for photographers. But the Duchess of Sussex appeared to linger. Royal watchers, also known as social media, claim the Duke of Sussex may have even gently whispered to This One's Wife to come on now, as she paused. And in another video taken backstage at the gala, the Duke of Sussex is grabbed by a member of the team who asks him a question. This One's Wife was left standing awkwardly alone, waiting for him to arrive, with some critics claiming she briefly glowered before smiling. See parts passing with regard to the presentation of her fury. Thus, they stepped out separately. Naturally, they're not joined at the hip, although, of course, This One's Wife previously said that they always move together like salt and pepper. And naturally, couples will do things separately, we all know that. But what's interesting about this is that it seems to be part of a narrative that is utilised by This One's Wife and Harry to basically keep them in the news. One of the major aspects of their relationship, which many people are waiting for, is the suggestion that there's divorce. It's already the case that people have suggested that they actually live separate lives, that This One's Wife lives in Los Angeles and Harry lives somewhere else. There was a suggestion that he was staying at one of the bungalows, playing Call of Duty there and staying out of the way. There's lots of speculation, naturally revolves around the children don't really exist, and therefore it's easy for them to be apart from one another, that the pictures that are occasionally pumped out are all taken by This One's Wife in a job lot, and then she sends them out at different times, which causes people to have confusion with regard to timelines and heights of the children, etc. The suggestion that they have separated and that Harry only comes together to see the children, and that they're with This One's Wife and the nannies most of the time. Of course, it's all speculation, and there are various aspects of their lives which add to the uncertainty in that regard. There was the supposed professional separation that took place, whereby they repeatedly undertook different roles and were not seen together. And speculation was at the time that as a consequence of Harry fucking things up with Spare, that this one's wife was looking to go it alone. There's been the emphasis, of course, on American Riviera Orchard, which went nowhere, and then As Ever, which hasn't gone particularly anywhere. Those being the brainchild, and I use that term in its most elastic sense, of this one's wife, that she again has been seeking to go it alone. Thus, because it gets people clicking and viewing and commenting, these separation stories appear from time to time. There seems to be enough evidence to provide enough to cause speculation without there being any actual confirmation that that is the case. You'll see reported in many places the suggestion that they are separated and that divorce is on the way. Many people are hanging around wanting to find out about the divorce because they expect that it will happen. Indeed, as I've explained to you previously, by virtue of the fact that she is a narcissist, the demise of the relationship is increased compared to non-narcissistic entanglements by virtue of the increased prospects of disengagement, because the narcissist, having no emotional empathy and being governed by other factors, is more likely to end the relationship as a consequence of the other partner breaking down, being too difficult to control, causing massive wounding, generally causing massive exposure of the narcissist in some way, and the most common, that the narcissist finds somebody else that is viewed as a better prospect and jumps ship. Whilst the most common outcome from an entanglement between narcissist and intimate partner primary source is disengagement by the narcissist, and therefore you might think that this one's wife would divorce Harry, there is a significant difference in relation to their dynamic, which pours cold water on the repeated suggestions of divorce and that they have separated. The fact is, although she doesn't like to know this, she needs Harry, because without him she is a nobody. It's quite clear that she has attempted to carve out an identity separate and distinct from that of Harry. After all, if she had just been content to be Mrs. Harry, they would have remained in the royal family. She would have had wealth, privilege. She would have had the opportunity to show up and do good through charitable works. But what she thought, being the greedy narcissist that she is that she could take the title, she could take the stories, and monetize them in the United States, which, as you know, was a combination of a pull factor by virtue of believing that she could make more money in the United States, which is what drives her considerably as a somatic narcissist, and the push factor because she wasn't able to control the institution that is the royal family. She thought that she would be able to take what she'd got from Harry and then overtake him as being the most important aspect of the relationship, because she sees herself as the most important aspect of their relationship. But in order for that to be borne out, it would mean that she would have to shine on her own, which would mean that she would have to be brilliant at something. And there's a fundamental flaw with that strategy. She isn't brilliant at anything, apart from ensnaring ginger princes. She isn't able to strike out on her own, because not only does she have no talent, she has no charisma, but she's unlikable. And therefore, not only does she not have the natural ability to do something, but even when she attempts something, it's likely to fail because people aren't interested in her or don't like her. Thus, she suffers a double whammy of a lack of talent and a lack of likability. Thus, she has never been able to move out from behind Harry, even though she still believes that she is the leading light of the relationship. But her narcissism recognizes the importance that Harry still plays, because without him, she's nobody. That people actually want to hear from Harry, and they in effect tolerate her because she is his wife. That he's the real deal because he's a blue-blooded prince she married in. And her narcissism recognizes, although it hates it, that without him, she is nothing. And therefore, whilst of course it remains the possibility that divorce could occur, it's diminished by virtue of the fact that every time she tries something and fails, in other words, she tries to strike out on her own to demonstrate she doesn't need Harry, the fact that she does need Harry becomes reinforced. And instead, it would appear to my mind that rather than these instances of undertaking things separately as being indicative of the fact that they aren't together, it's actually part and parcel of news generation. By making it seem that there's trouble in paradise, that there is difficulties in their relationship, it generates speculation. Speculation means that people will comment and click. So, for example, in relation to the article that I referenced from the Daily Mail, talking about their separate nights out, which on one level is simply two people who happen to be in a relationship doing separate things. That's hardly, in a sense, anything particularly newsworthy, is it? Do you do everything with your partner all the time? Or do you go off and see your friends separately? Go to the gym separately? Go and visit your family separately? You'll do things without them. But in the context of this, it's the fact that they portray this so that people's tongues will get wagging to suggest, ooh, there are problems. The relationship's on its uppers. Divorce is imminent, because that then increases engagement. And the fact is that it causes people to comment about the state of the relationship. Newspapers will engage in this activity for the purposes of generating views and clicks and advertising revenue. And I also think that the Sussex engage in it also, because it then keeps them in the news. Harry doesn't care so much about that aspect of it, but this one's wife does, because she needs to be in the news. Because if she's in the news, it allows her to control the narrative, assert control over people, and receive fuel. So once again, we get this instance of making it seem like there are problems in the relationship, when an analysis suggests that the more she tries to demonstrate she doesn't need Harry, the more it's reinforced that she actually does. Some time ago, the prospects of divorce would have been much higher. But now, because she's not been able to successfully strike out on her own, she needs to cling on to him all the more. What are your thoughts in that regard? Let me know in the comments section. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.